Yeah.
of the cinematic. I mean, A, that would just be a cool scene. B, it would be a way of getting the same plot, but retcon-free. Right now, it just seems as if the writers want to feel smart by pretending they set this all up years ago, even though the original source material doesn't really back it up that much.
Not
I'll
really.
say this. You know what? Chris Metzen, he was a cheesy dude. I'll say that much. But I don't think his lore had this specific problem. So look, I really...
Well, no, because it was really basic. Like, that's what was good about the WoW lore. Like, if you go back and you watch the vanilla WoW lore, it's actually really fucking simple. And they've tried to do, like, this Game of Thrones level bullshit on the lore with, like, making it this, like, very convoluted, complicated story, which is great if you can get it right. But it's like, Shadowlands, you know, like BFA, I think the story was, like, season 5 or season 6 of Game of Thrones. Shadowlands is seeming like it's season 8. And that's what I think people are concerned about.
like the lore, I'm excited for it, but I don't have that much faith in their storytelling. I think that writing lore and actually telling a story are two different skill sets, and right now the people who are doing the lore are not really doing a great job of the story. I mean, hell, even the Helm of Domination and Frostmourn's Nathrezim connection has also just been retconned, which is a bit sad. So, basically, if we lop off Sylvanas' head in Gul'dan-like fashion and then move on to stories that aren't a total mess, I think things could be really good. And that does lead me on, oddly enough, to my next positive point. Okay, so while I'd rather have a Wrath-like expansive adventure, I would take the Warlords of Draenor linear but very well executed narrative over the more fragmented ones of Legion and BFA. And neither of those expansions could really tell a story across their zones. That was just impossible because the zones were designed to be completed in any order. That meant that BFA and Legion were essentially short story collections. You know, not a full novel, if you get what I mean. Well, Shadowlands is returning to a linear narrative progression, telling a story that will carry on through all of the zones. This is an extremely welcome change of pace, and it's one that will let the developers have longer character arcs and better pacing. Look, I love the lore, and I actually love many of the smaller zone stories, like Runas from Legion. It's just that, you know, the strange transmedia narrative sort of tie-in Sylvanas connective tissue that drives it all forward, I think risks torpedoing elements. But I think one of the antidotes to that is more of the story being in the game and having linear zones that just tell one big story.
Having the story in the game means a lot.
Well, I think it can actually achieve that goal far more than with Legion and BFA, and that's something I'm hyped about. Still, though, time to slip in a important sort of negative, and that's vagueness. I mean, it's good and bad. I mean, if anything, it just means that Blizzard are early on in development, and they don't want to publicly commit to things. That's sensible. Maybe it indicates a little bit more humility from them. I mean, they've often been fairly hubristic, especially with things like personal loot and the GCD change, so perhaps them not coming out swinging with complete confidence is kind of a good sign. Now, that said, it's also true that the expansion doesn't seem that far along, and we're probably not in for an August 2020 release date.
There's no
or at the very least, if that's going to happen, then they're going to need to have a real speedy beta. Anyway, while Blizzard were light in the details here, I think there is one thing that they were very clear on, and it's our next positive. They were loud and clear on the topic of player agency. They were clear in their admonishment of the pruning. Hell, they were even pretty darn anti-RNG, or at the very least they were anti-insane RNG, with them clearly, you know, stating those things, and often to the cheers of the crowd, even saying that the weekly disappointment box wasn't their best idea, and at least emotionally...
The weekly disappointment box. Man. Did Blizzard think Bellier should just work at Blizzard? That's a really, really great way to say it. I like that a lot. By the way, I need some people to come help me with something in the hinterlands. If people want to message me, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this group. I need some 60s. I want to try and see if I can really just abuse the game. Just message me INV for an invite, and I want to see if I can get this done.
I can say that hearing all of that felt great. You know, I can deal with them being vague if I'm confident that they're moving forward in a better direction. So, are they? Well, there's a few snags that I'm going to cover here today, but in a lot of areas, I think they are moving in a better direction. Okay, time for a negative. One thing that they really could have thrown in the bin to the cheers of the crowd would have been the GCD changes of BFA. I think
they already basically have. That's the thing. It's like Blizzard already basically has gotten rid of like most of the GCD changes. Now, they haven't gotten rid of everything. Like, there's a few things, and I think that they're still really kind of sticking to their guns with, like, keeping the cooldowns on GCD. But for the most part, there's been a lot of other things that they've completely gotten rid of with the GCD. We need more people, by the way. If anybody wants to message me for an invite, please message me for an invite. and so that way I can do this. Thinking about the other day, whenever you got an experience lock at a party, he's gonna try it with 5 level higher mobs. Yes, exactly. I'm gonna do that. You should form a WoW community council. That's actually a really good idea. What the fuck? That's like the smartest thing I've heard in chat all day. That's a really good idea. What the fuck? Sounds like an echo chamber? Not really, because the people that are representing the community, by the nature of them being the chosen people by representing the community, by having the highest amount of people that are listening to them and watching them, would imply that they have the most prevalent opinions upon the people that are consuming outside of game WoW content. Right? I mean, so that I feel like an echo chamber doesn't make any sense. Like, really, actually doesn't make any sense. Oh, I have the wrong helmet on.
These have been the worst single move made for modern WoW gameplay.
Yeah.
It made specs with multiple offensive cooldowns a real drag. Their macro-based justification was just a boogeyman, the killing of whom was not worth the slowdown of their specs and the homogenization of their pacings. So Blizzard not hearing any update in this was pretty disappointing, and I'd love it if you reconsidered it in the future. And speaking of the baggage of BFA, well, borrowed power is also a concern. While it seems like we're actually in for really solid class changes in the 1 through 50 range, we are seeing the 50 through 60 editions come in via an external system, Covenants and Soulbinds. Now, I'd worry that, in constantly reiterating the same type of thing, they're kind of rarely progressing the game from a mechanical standpoint. There's also the problem of losing these abilities in 10.0. I mean, some of the new Covenant abilities may be baselined, others may be baked into talents, but, like having a thing that used to be baseline be a talent doesn't feel great as the BFA transition.
Because they're taking it away. That's why it doesn't feel great. Of course it doesn't feel fucking great. It feels like getting fucked in the ass. Like, it's not good. Like, I don't know. Like, all right. I'm guessing. Okay, I'm not like really.
So it's probably going to be fine during 9.0, but I think it's going to be tricky to deal with after that, especially since once Covenants go away, we're losing, 48 class abilities and 4 utility abilities. That's going to sting. And while we're on that topic, I've got another negative: conduits. Now, these are consumable items that you socket into your soulbinds, as I've covered in previous videos, and they've been described as being like the 7.3 relics. So yeah, you can't take one out of a soulbind and maybe move it into another soulbind. They are consumable. I think this is a massive mistake. This really is de-hyping me. I think it's going to punish build experimentation, and that's something that the range of soulbinds and their talent like switching, that's like supposed to aid that, so it seems odd that they're then punishing it. I think that, they want these to add a lot of longevity to progression, but that they're doing that by arbitrarily punishing players. I think that's clearly a bad situation, especially if the conduits are powerful, and I would implore Blizzard to reconsider it. Next up, though, time for a positive, and that is Shadowlands' leveling changes. I think they are going to be incredibly healthy for the game. Leveling being a bit faster but of a higher quality will make for a far better new player experience. I mean, I've got newbie friends, okay, and they're playing the game right now, and it is a bit of a fragmented mess, especially when they don't know all of the lore. Now, balancing...
Start off, it's like, okay, you've got to go, and we just got our brand new War Chief Thrall, and, or not brand new War Chief Thrall. I guess some of the old zones might still have Thrall, like, according as the War Chief. We just got our brand new War Chief Garrosh. We're going to see how that guy does, and you get over to Ironforge, or Orgrimmar, and you go in there and the phasing set up, and then wait here for War Chief Vol'jin, and it's like, wait, what the fuck? Where's Vol'jin? And then there's this other girl that comes in here, and it's Sylvanas, and she's also the War Chief. How many War Chiefs do we have? What's going on here? Okay, well, oh my god, we have to go. Illidan's on our side? I thought Illidan's on our side. Well, then why am I killing him in the Black Temple? Like, what's going on? I'm going over to Outlands? Like, none of it makes any fucking sense. Okay, none of it makes any fucking sense. Like, if it's a person that cares about lore in WoW, like, if you're a person that plays games for its lore and, like, the way it works in WoW, you are having a bad time. Let me just say that right now. By the way, we still do need more people. Message Rogue Boy, and for INV, for an invite, I need some 60s to help me test out the true limits of my leeching capabilities. So please go ahead and message me if you're bored.
One expansion for, you know, your whole 10 to 50 means that, like, the quality of the zones will shine, people will get a cohesive experience, and that's something that's sorely needed. Now, combining this with the high quality 1 through 10 starter zone, that's another brilliant move. And then combine that with pretty much getting a new